Gisèle Pelicot's stand against her husband and the 50 others who are in the defendant's box has drawn admirers not just in Avignon but around the world. We can show you here murals or posters put up in the northern French city of Lille. Similar actions have been done by street artists throughout France. Just north of Lille, across the border in Belgium, let's cross to Brussels. Maïté Meeus is the founder of Balance ton bar, which is an organization that takes a stand against people who, well, tell me if I'm telling this wrong, spike women's drinks or and take advantage of them. It's a movement you founded because it was recurringly happening in several bars in the Belgian capital. Thanks for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you for having me. Well, it's true that this movement aimed to fight sexual violence and chemical submission. So it's the fact of drugging someone against their will. It's a movement that was launched in 2021. And yeah, we tried to tackle those issues, and it took quite an international dimension.
Yeah, balance ton bar, just to translate it roughly, it's a play on words to say call out your local bar.
Totally, that's it.
So let me ask you, Gisèle Pelicot, your reaction when you saw the man there giving her flowers, the applause, and that's something we've seen almost on a daily basis in the courtroom in Avignon. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it has been quite beautiful to see the amount of global solidarity. I mean, from many cities in France, which organized protests, to Belgium, Spain, Australia, press attention in the New York Times and massive media outlets across the world. So I truly hope that it will not die down, and it will help us spark important conversation in each country about the treatment of victims of violence today.
And there may already be an impact. We're seeing France's justice minister last week who talked about inserting into French law the concept of consent, which here in France does not exist.
Totally, it doesn't exist in France. In Belgium, we did something about it. But what I would like to highlight is the enormous secondary victimization problem France is having. I mean, it's not exclusive to France, but we saw it through the Gisèle Pelicot trial. Let's not forget that Gisèle was labeled an alcoholic, a liar, a conspirator. So this woman was raped by over 51 men. She's 72 years old, and she's undergoing an extremely publicized trial. And this perspective allows us to truly question how a vulnerable, non-publicized person has been raped in what might seem like a more ordinary way is treated by the justice system. It also really embodies how the justice system imposed double punishments on victims who are already broken by the horror.
So introducing this concept of consent, that a man has to ask permission before sexual relations, how would that change things?
Well, it would change things by making things clearer, but I think what is a real problem is the change of mentality. We saw it through the trial. We saw defense lawyers saying there is rape and rape, that everything is a matter of intentionality, when factually it isn't. So it would change a lot of things for the better.
Chemical submission, which was what she was subjected to, is that something that's always existed, or is it a problem that's getting worse?
No, chemical submission has always existed. It's not just a matter of benzodiazepine. It's not something new that has happened in the last 10 years. Chemical submission has happened with sleeping pills, you know, or other prescription drugs that are available on the counters. So, yeah, it has always existed.
It's always existed. Now there are these so-called rape drugs that you put in people's drinks. Just in a word, how is your campaign going in Brussels?
Well, it's going fine. It has been ongoing for 3 years, and I think we still have a lot to do and a lot to fight for. The numbers regarding sexual violence are crazy, to be honest. 1 woman out of 5 in Belgium has been a rape victim. Regarding sexual violence in general in France, it's 1 woman out of 2 who has already experienced sexual violence. So I think we have a lot to do regarding violence as it is, but also regarding how the justice system is treating those cases with, for example, the dismissal rate for sexual violence case in France being staggeringly high, climbing climbing at 86%. In Belgium, it's not much better, so we really need to fight against that.
Maïté Meeus, many thanks for joining us from Brussels.
Well, thank you very much for having me.